5 5
Коллеги,
Dear colleagues, please, we are asking you to take your seats. We are going to start in 3 minutes.
коллеги,
Dear colleagues, please take your seats. We are starting.
доброе утро, коллеги.
Good morning, dear colleagues. I'm very pleased to greet you at our second regional scientific practical conference, regional aspects of the sustainable development of the professional education, challenges and prospects, which is being conducted by GIZ in terms of financing and support, with the financing and support from the Ministry of Republic of Germany, and in cooperation with the 4 Central Asian countries. Today I'm going to be the moderator, and tomorrow I will be a moderator, and instead of the long introductory welcoming words, I would like to invite now the representatives of the host country, the Deputy Minister of the Higher Education, Science and Innovation of Republic of Uzbekistan, Mrs. Shahlotur Dikulova. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, dear participants of the conference. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to welcome you on behalf of the Ministry of the Higher Education, Science and Innovation, especially the guests of our country, the guests who arrived to Tashkent. First of all, I would like to express gratitude on behalf of our ministry to GIZ for the close cooperation, which is very fruitful, and the support that they provide to our ministry in such important sector as education. Based on the presidential decree in the country, we have developed the system of education which is based on the international standards. The lifelong professional education now came from the mandatory to the voluntary. The most important factor is that the new standards will be reviewed according to the international standards on the demand of the employers. The main goal of those reforms is aimed at integration of the professional education with the labor market. The professional education curricula are introduced which are adapted to the world skills standards and other international standards. For the organization of training to the entrepreneurship and improvement of income, there are new subjects such as foundations of entrepreneurship and organization of business. We should note that the key task of the professional education in Uzbekistan is the training of the personnel of the middle level, which have the required skills and knowledge. In this regard, we are involving employers in all the processes and all the stages of professional education and the development of systems with their participation. One of the key points of the involvement of employers in the system of professional education is dual education. Dual education is now introduced in over 200 schools in Uzbekistan, professional schools in different occupations. As we know, Germany is the country where the professional education of the working place is the traditional component of the system of education, where the mentoring and apprenticeship is the main significant part. And the dual education is very much developed in the country. At the organization of dual education in Uzbekistan, we have developed the close cooperation with one of the most important partners, with GIZ, on introduction of the elements of this form of education. Within the bilateral cooperation, we are implementing 2 joint projects on development of the professional education, especially in the implementation of the development of professional education for the sectors of the economic growth in Central Asia. Within this project, we aim at development of dual education, not only in the system of vocational education, but also in different directions, in food sector and industry. Within the project, we develop the professional standards in the food industry, and with the use of the best practices of the international experience in the system of vocational education. Also, with the help of this implemented project, the support of process of reforms and modernization in the system of vocational education of Uzbekistan in the light industry, the professional curricula are being developed for 6 professions for the training in the form of dual education. And also we equip 15 professional schools. Currently, both projects are actively participating with their clear proposals in the processes of reforming of vocational education sector in Uzbekistan. Within the cooperation with our German partners, around 100 representatives of ministries, training institutions and employers participated in the trainings and seminars. Within our cooperation, we are conducting our second conference, with the main goal of which is to develop the systems of vocational education at the Central Asian space through exchange, through cooperation between the specialists. At today's conference, we are going to discuss the important questions, including the proposals that will be done by the employers together with the international experts. Let me greet once again all of our participants and wish you all the success during our conference, and we hope to receive the best results of this event. And we, as the Ministry of Education, we are looking forward to receiving the proposals that our ministry is going to receive based on the results of the conference. Thank you very much for your attention. Good luck. Thank you very much, Shahlo Utkurovna. As you know, that this event is being conducted within a quite long-term cooperation of Germany and Uzbekistan, and from the Central Asian space, this cooperation is over 20 years. And now that's why I'm pleased to invite the representative of German Federative Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, the head of the GIZ in Uzbekistan, Mr. Mikhail Wimmer.
Thank you, Philip. First, a slight correction. I'm not the head of GIZ, as the interpretation said. I'm the head of cooperation in the German embassy. My name is Dr. Michael Wimmer. I'm sorry to say that the ambassador is not here. He was called. He had a political call that was unavoidable. So it's in Germany, like in Uzbekistan, sometimes political interferences hinder you from attending to a nice event. So Having said that, I would like to welcome and say my best greetings to Mrs. Tudu-Kolova, to the Deputy Minister of Higher Education, and to Mr. Atabayev, Deputy Chairman of the Chamber of Commerce, to Ms. Muhamedonova, Advisor of the Chairman of Textilprom, and to the Minister for Employment and Poverty Reduction of Kyrgyzstan, Turmanov, especially to the representatives of the neighboring countries. It's always good to see you here in Uzbekistan. Before turning to the particular reason of today's event, I would like to make a few remarks about the current status of our bilateral relations between Uzbekistan and Germany. They have reached an all-time high. This is highly visible at the recent row of high-ranking visits, starting with our Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock coming to Tashkent and Samarkand last November, closely followed 2 weeks later by our Vice Minister for Economic Cooperation, Niels Annen. He held talks with Federal State President Frank. Oh, no, there's something wrong in my cards. I have to apologize. Yeah. Niels Annen, who committed 200 million of fresh funds for bilateral projects, to peak with the consecutive visits of Prime Minister Aripov in Berlin in February and finally State President Mirziyoyev in May. He held talks with Federal State President Frank-Walter Steinmeier as well as Chancellor Olaf Scholz and was accompanied by a significant delegation of cabinet ministers and business representatives. And we are continuing in this spirit as Central Asia as a region is more and more in the political focus. There's the ongoing Global Gateway initiative by the EU with the last Central Asia European Summit in June this year. And just at the end of September, the 5 Central Asian heads of state met with Chancellor Olaf Scholz for a C5+ meeting in Berlin. As we believe our country's future and the reform agenda of the President Mirziyoyev, we do not leave it there. Our current cooperation portfolio of development cooperation has grown to an overall value of more than 600 million of projects up and running or committed. This is completed by significant regional projects, including our TVET projects supporting this conference today. So we indeed put our money where our mouth is. Summing up, close ties politically, economically, and of course supporting Uzbekistan as a partner country significantly, we are still continuing with our bilateral and regional development cooperation. This is the framework we are working in together. In the priority area of promoting private sector employment and professional education, bilateral and regional GIZ projects have been implemented since the beginning of the 1990s. We would like to expressly encourage you to pilot these concepts, to exchange experiences, findings in the implementation of the dual model for professional education, and to further develop the concepts. For the implementation of the national concepts for dual training, the dialogue between the state and the business community is indispensable. We support this with our projects in initializing and developing it, and today's conference is an example of this. It's therefore also particularly noteworthy that 90 business professionals have been invited to today's conference. I hope they are all there. I don't know. We will find out. We are looking forward to your contributions. Today's conference brings together 250 experts and leaders from 4 Central Asian countries of higher and vocational education levels to share experiences and lessons learned in reforming professional education systems in the countries. Learning from each other is an important aspect of the conference. During the conference, you will be given ample opportunity in the various formats to share experiences and knowledge on 5 selected topics, green economy being one of them, which is becoming more important every day. For the conference, scientists and practitioners of professional education from Central Asian countries, as well as from Germany and Austria, have written 43 scientifically practical articles. These are the basis for the discussion forums and master classes of the conference. I wish you many new insights for the discussion and new ideas for your work in your countries. The regional conference is a platform for the exchange of knowledge and experience between the countries of Central Asia and us. We would be pleased if such a platform is also used in the future for the exchange between the Central Asian countries. A proposal to this effect will be submitted to you at the end of the conference. The German side expressly supports this, and I look forward to hearing upon your opinion. And I must add here from my side that it cannot be repeated often enough. Technical and vocational education and training, especially the technical level in the industry, is the backbone of the German industrial success over the last 100 years. Even though economies might go up and down, and you might have upwards and downwards developments, we still have one of the strongest industries worldwide when it comes to machine building, chemical industry, and a couple of other sectors. And that is due to the skills level of the people that are working in that. High productivity, high quality, that is only achievable if you have highly skilled staff. And that's what we actually are promoting worldwide with lots of success. International donor organizations active in the field of professional education in Uzbekistan are also invited to the conference. Together with you, we want to support the Uzbek and Central Asian partners in further developing the system of professional education within the framework of the working groups of the country platform Uzbekistan, of the Agency for Strategic Reforms here under the President, and we look forward to working together and hope that this conference provides ideas for further work in Central Asia overall. The conference was prepared by two GIZ projects: the bilateral project support of the reform and modernization process in the vocational training and education system of Uzbekistan. Abbreviation is TEXVET. GIZ likes snappy abbreviations, and that is sometimes helpful to remember something. And the regional project Professional Education for Economic Growth Sectors in Central Asia, PECA. It sounds a little bit like medicine to me, but. And the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Innovation of the Republic of Uzbekistan has assumed the patronage, and we are very thankful for that. I would like to thank the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Innovation of the Republic of Uzbekistan, the organizers of the conference, but also the ministries, business organizations and educational institutions of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. I wish you all a very successful conference and look forward to fruitful discussions with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the welcoming remarks from the Federative Republic of Germany. Also, we have here not only the representatives of the higher education, science and innovations, but also the Ministry of Employment and the Poverty Reduction of the Republic of Uzbekistan. I would like to invite you to speak with the welcoming remarks. Mrs. Rano Turdiboyeva, please welcome. Good afternoon, good morning, dear participants of the conference. Assalamu alaikum. Dear ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me express gratitude for invitation to participate at this scientific practical conference, the regional aspects of sustainable development of vocational education, challenges and prospects. I would like to express gratitude to the representatives of the Organization of International Cooperation of Germany, which makes a significant contribution to the development of very important sectors such as career guidance, vocational education, professional standards, and the creation of the modern training curricula in our republic. As you all know, since 2016, we have had a huge reform in the political, economic, and social spheres, and thanks to these huge changes in our country, we are having significant changes in all the spheres, especially in the sphere of labor relations. The provision of employment for the population, the development of new mechanisms of the system of vocational education. Currently, in the system of the Ministry of Employment and Poverty Reduction, we have 32 monocenters, which are called Ishka Marhamat, Welcome to Work. and their branches, and also the 53 centers of vocational education with the capacity of 67,000 people. There, the citizens are trained in the professions that are in demand on the labor market, and also in compliance with the requirements of the employer. Now, based on these changes, the training process is conducted based on the intensive courses, based on the international world skills standards. With this correlation 70-30, 30% of theory, 70% of practice. In addition to this, the consultancy office, which is developed at the Mono Center Ushkamar Hamad, within 2022-2023, involved and sent to the Mono Centers and the Centers of Vocational Education, in general, 70 qualified foreign specialists from 5 countries, such as Turkey, Japan, Germany, Korea, and Russia. This was made in 24 professions, and currently the experience of an international specialist is effectively applied at the process of training. I also think that together with the progress, we have the practical work which should be conducted in the future. In particular, to provide the current employment of the working population and to comply with the requirements of the employers and also the requirements of the state and non-state educational institutions, and also provide and develop the curricula taking into account the requirements of the modern economy, and also provide the trainers and masters of the industry training the skills of training the modern professions. I would like to note that we are interested in this bilateral cooperation, and also we expect this from the state and non-state organizations,
as well as from the coordinating bodies, interconnection and cooperation in this area. I would like to emphasize that we are interested to broadly develop these efforts and take advantage of the unique experience of Central Asian countries. Let me, in conclusion of my statement, to quote wise statement: if you want to do good for someone, teach him craft and skills. Eventually, our ministry finds it is paramount importance to help everyone and anyone to find his place in this world, acquire professional skills, and become a full-fledged member of society, get a good job, and start a good family. We're inviting all governmental and non-governmental organizations, the representative office of international organizations, to take part in successful implementation of this work.
So I would like to wish you all the success in this conference, and I must say that such conferences are very contributional to the vocational education, and it also is good for the development of the skills in our people and the population. And it's very good that we have today the representatives of all Central Asian countries, and we hope that we will be able to achieve the new levels together. And I would like to wish again all the success in our conference. Thank you.
Спасибо.
Thank you. Thank you very much, dear speaker. I will not give a separate invitation, but I'm pleased to see that we have here representatives of the Ministry of Employment, not only of Republic Uzbekistan, but also the Autonomous Republic of Karakalpakstan, which is part of Uzbekistan. We have got Mr. Turbanov, Minister of Karakalpakstan, and I'm pleased to see him here as well. One of the key ideas and principles in development of the vocational education system is to ensure participation of the businesses in this area. Why? Because they are major users of the skills and competencies Therefore, I'm really pleased to invite here to the rostrum the Deputy Chairman on External Economic Relations of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Uzbekistan, Mr. Ravshan Atabayev. Good morning, dear participants of the conference. Good morning, dear ladies and gents. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to the GIZ for giving the Chamber of Commerce and Industry the honor to speak at this practical conference, which is dedicated to the regional aspects of sustainable development of professional education. Dear participants of the conference, taking into account the specifics of the agenda of the conference, let me, being a representative of Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Uzbekistan, briefly inform you about what we do and how we cooperate with our partners from Germany. We are really pleased to see that the cooperation between two countries are rapidly developing, including cooperation between businesses of these countries. CCI is interacting with the businesses of Germany based on the number of bilateral agreements, including those with the Chamber of Commerce of Germany, Chamber of Commerce of Berlin, and other institutions that represent German businesses both at the federal level and the local level. As a part of cooperation of our German partners, we regularly conduct meetings, roundtables, where both Uzbek and German businessmen participate. I would like to know that quite recently, in September, we had a meeting with the German delegation headed by Mr. Volker Trier, the head of the German Chamber of Chemistry. We had a number of events in the context of the Days of German Economy of Uzbekistan, those which are dedicated to the issues of trade, investment, industrial cooperation between the Germany and Uzbekistan. During the roundtables and business meetings, we discussed with German partners the current status of bilateral relations and prospects of implementation of the mutually beneficial investment projects. We are really pleased to see that mutually beneficial trade cooperation between two countries is rapidly developing. Compared to 2017, our trade turnover increased from about 600 million to 1.2 billion dollars in 2022. During the 8 months of this year, our turnover already exceeded 800 million USD. Within the short period of time, we succeeded to advance our inter-industrial cooperation and make contacts with the number of German companies. I would like to mention projects with the big companies of Germany who are actively working in various sectors of Uzbek economy. They are Bayer, Knauf, Klaas, Bosch, and others. And they're covering the wide range of sectors such as logistics, automobile making, and so on. Number of enterprises with German capital nearly doubled in the last few years. Now it is 219 companies. As we know, as a result of the visit of Uzbek president to Germany in May 2023, a number of big investment agreements were signed. Talking about the topic of our today's conference, I can tell you that delegation of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Uzbekistan had 2 meetings with the Center of Saxon Economics to learn about the operations in vocational education, dual education, and capacity building of entrepreneurs, and as well as technical and as well as professionals. Just early in November, we're going to have another meeting with Saxonian businesses, Hamburg businesses, and in addition, we have ongoing discussions on vocational education. Why? Because German companies show a big interest in the human and labor resources. There are some practical implementations of initiatives. Madam Deputy Minister of Employment told us There is a Global Gate, there's Papenkurt, who are already implementing the dual education system, and apparently implementation of these projects will provide additional impetus to this process. German businesses are equally interested to train the workforce both in Uzbekistan and within dual education in Germany. We are hoping to advance cooperation in this area. We have had meetings with the representatives of Chamber of Commerce and Industry to set up the platform for German and Uzbek business communities to implement these projects in vocational education as well. During the negotiations, apart from the increase of the sales and investment, we also discussed the preparation of the qualified labor force in various vocational skills. I believe that addressing these issues will give additional impetus to development of employment of this population, and of course having our neighbors in these discussions like Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan will also contribute to the improvement in employment of Uzbekistan. In conclusion, I would like to say that my organization will continue to pay potent attention to this domain, taking into account the cooperation with our partners from Germany. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best. Thank you. Thank you very much. And with the welcome words from Uzbekistan will be finished by the statement Uz-Tekstil-Prom Association. And this association is closely working with the German counterparts. And now I am inviting the advisor to the chairman of the association, Mr. Rusamov. Good morning, dear participants of the conference, dear guests.
We are very happy to greet you here. The Uzbekistan and cooperation with GIZ is improving very much today, and one of the main directions of this cooperation is the development of vocational education and professional the training of the future specialists who are going to work in these sectors. And of course, we need to develop our cooperation and joint work to achieve these joint goals. And the tendency in the development that we are seeing for today is to have the sufficient amount of the personnel and of the workforce in the middle level to introduce them into the future work. And I can personally say that our association is very glad to have this cooperation, because we understand that without the development of the level of education, we won't be able to have the workforce. And we are very happy to receive this support from international organizations to have the highly qualified and skilled specialists. And a couple of words about the export. In 2022, this amount has increased twice comparing to the previous years. And in addition to this, within our cooperation, we are happy to receive the expertise from our international colleagues. And I would like to say that the head of the chair of our association wanted to participate very much in the conference, but due to some business issues he couldn't participate today. But still I express my gratitude on behalf of our association. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So implementation of cooperation with Germany on vocational education with Central Asian countries, with Uzbekistan in particular. So, I mean, Germany and Federal Ministry of Business Cooperation was given to GIZ, saying specifically 2 GIZ projects. One of them, a regional one, which among others is boosting the cooperation inside the region among countries, and the other one specifically for Uzbekistan. And now I would like to invite the leaders of this projects who would make their statements. Yes. So, good job. Who will be the first? So, and the first speaker is the head of the regional project for the sectors of economic development, Madam Sonia Kabashi Angelkovich.
These representatives of international organizations, colleagues from GIZ, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of GIZ, Matthias and I would like to welcome you to this second regional scientific practical conference. This conference is the second. The first one was last year, and we are building on this conference of last year with the topics of this year's conference. And what we're aiming with this is to encourage exchange on the regional level, on creating new ideas on the regional level, and then on inspiring each other. So I really would like to encourage you to participate in everything that you can possibly participate in, share your ideas, be innovative, dare to say what you want to do, and learn from each other. This is really important. We don't come together in such a nice group very often. So I would like to encourage you to share whatever you have on your mind to increase the quality of professional education in Central Asia. And I wish you a lot of fun and success, and I hand over to Matthias.
Yes, good morning. A very warm welcome also from our side, from the bilateral project here in Uzbekistan. I want to say, and just prolong what you said, it's 2 projects organizing this conference, but it's only one goal and one GIZ here today. We have one goal. It's a modernized, needs-oriented vocational education system in Uzbekistan and in the region. I think this is very important to underline. We are very glad that the Uzbek government wants to implement dual education following the German model or the European model, wherever dual education is existing. And this is a good opportunity for us, and we are very glad to support our partners in Uzbekistan, but also in the region. Thank you very much, and I'm wishing you a perfect day and also tomorrow a perfect conference. Kata Rahmat.
Thank you very much to the colleagues. Now, before we go to the subject matter of this event, I would like to make a couple of comments related to logistics, just to give you an idea what and how it's all going on. If you have no agenda in your hands, you can find it online. On the back side of your badge you have 2 QR codes, and if you scan the top one, you can see the agenda. Talking about the structure of the conference, it will look like this. Before lunch, we're staying here, doing plenary session, panel discussion, and we touch and address general issues about what is going on in the countries. After lunch, we'll go to the thematic sections, totally 5 sections. They're dealing with different topics: international, national process, trends in vocational education, It's section number 1. The second section deals with interaction of professional vocational educations with business community. We heard about it. Section 3, digitalization of vocational education methodology. Section 4, it's capacity building of the workforce of the vocational education. And number 5, financing of education. All these sessions will take place in different rooms, which are downstairs. This is first floor. You can take the lift or you can take the stairs and go down. You have to go to the -1, totally 5 conference rooms, all the numbers on the doors. The question is which session each of you goes. This issue is resolved for you by colleagues. On the badge you also have a small sticker. It shows number, and this is the number of your section. Again, it will happen after lunch, 2 blocks before break and after break. And tomorrow we'll start here in this room. And tomorrow morning we have 2 parallel formats. We have 2 trips to the enterprise and to the university, while in parallel here we'll have 6 master classes about different topics. You could read the list at the entrance and also in your invitation. These master classes will happen twice. You can manage to attend both. Part of you already confirmed the interest to attend masterclass. The others are still thinking. You can decide it later, either to go to the trip or the masterclass. So during the lunch or after lunch, you will find our volunteers, and they will stick 1 or 2 more stickers for better orientation. We still have time till the lunch. The second small technical aspect is that we have plenty of interactive digital instruments, so if you are not from Uzbekistan, if you connect to the Wi-Fi of the hotel, most of you did it already. Who did not do that, please do. There is a special password for it. You can find them on the sheets of paper and the registration and in the section rooms as well. If you are not connected, yes, please do that. You can do that during the lunch or after lunch. And another aspect, it is from a little bit different domain. If you have some biological, natural needs of your body, and if you not so many toilets on this side of the room, there are more toilets on the other side of the room, because I already saw some lines. I apologize for such a practical comment, but I thought that would be better to say it. So now let's get to the subject matter of our topic, and it will be started by the representatives of all 4 countries: Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. And we start with colleagues from Kazakhstan. Basically, for each presentation we have got 15 minutes. We are lagging behind from the agenda, so I will have to from time to time remind you to stay within the agenda. Kazakh colleagues split the time period for 2, 18 minutes each. And the first is the head of the Department of Internalization, Ministry of Science of Republic of Kazakhstan, Madam Science and Higher Education Kazakhstan, Madam Rauza Mendalieva. If possible, please stay here for a while after the presentation. Yes, sure. Can I have my presentation on the screen? Good morning, dear colleagues. First of all, let me to express my gratitude to organizers for giving me an opportunity to participate in this event. Taking this opportunity, I would like to tell you about the major areas and avenues on which the Minister of Science and Education of Kazakhstan is working, including higher education and professional education. Kazakhstan, if we talk about higher and graduate and postgraduate education, is carried out by 119 universities. As a part of modernization, 71% of educational curricula have been upgraded. The concept on development of higher education was adopted for 2023-2029. As a part of this concept, to create equal conditions in the affordable conditions, measures are taken to increase the number of scholarships, stipends, and grants, including of solidarity accruing system, differentiated grants, and grace lending. We have a system of advanced human resource provision as a part of the project Mamdao. This project implies the strategic consolidation of efforts of the universities, municipalities, and business communities. As a result of this collaboration, every single regional university has got the project offices where the foresight research of the human resource needs of the region are carried out. They're also developing the maps of the professions. Another important area is to improve the system to identify the need in the human resources and determining the future profession of the youth. We developed the regional atlases of the new professions and conferences. We conduct foresight sessions for the university teachers to determine the professions in demand as well as skills in the region, and we are planning to adopt the regional standard of the advanced human resource provision. We are carrying out efforts to improve the infrastructure of the universities. At the moment, Kazakhstan has been creating the excellence centers, and they now comprise 20 Kazakh universities. We are carrying out efforts to create Central Asian Educational Hub to boost practical skills and competences of the students and teachers and IT, blockchain, artificial intelligence for the ICT industry and for community. My ministry is partnering with companies like Coursera, Google, Microsoft, Huawei, Amazon, and others.
We are working. Just a second. We are working within the internationalization. So with this, we are developing the 2 diploma educational curricula. We are opening branches of Kazakhstan universities in foreign countries, and we are working on developing the Central Asian space, and also founding the branches of foreign universities in Kazakhstan. And also we are planning to open the workshops of Lubani. These are the support from our Chinese colleagues to develop the construction sphere. And also in Kustanai region, we are going to sign the agreement with Kia and Korean universities to train the workforce in the machine building. Also, we are working on the improvement of the academic freedom at the universities with the count of the professional standards. Also, we have introduced the applied bachelor's degree, and I would like to speak a few words about this. In accordance with the Kazakhstan legislation, the applied bachelor's degree is the secondary degree. It is the 4th level of this international standards. Within these applied bachelors, we are implementing curricula in the colleges, professional, vocational colleges, if they have this certification. Today we have 8 universities involved into this process. The programs that are being developed on the applied bachelor's degree we are developing the curricula for vocational education. Usually such curricula are developed on the initiative of the employer. Then upon the graduation from these applied bachelors, the graduates can enter the third year of the bachelor's degree at the university. So this amount of the training at the university is decreased for 1 or 2 years. So this allows to adapt faster to the demands of the labor market. In addition to this, the graduates from the schools and colleges, they make mistakes in choosing their profession. In this regard, the short cycle of the applied bachelor's degree allows to get training not only in this profession but also in the related profession. And this longitude is 3 years for the usual college, but if we take the applied bachelor, it's 1 or 2 years. After this degree, they can enter the universities with their profession for the shortened term. That's why in this pilot regime of introduction of the applied bachelors, we synchronize it with the curricula of the universities, and we make emphasis here on the correct content in the training process. We are making this through the involvement of employers, not only in development of the educational curricula, but also with the implementation. In this project of applied bachelor's degree, we have the representatives from the business representatives, gas producing company, proper data management, castes and trans, Hyundai Astana, Kazakh Telecom, Industry Tourism Association of Central Asia, and many others. As stimulating measures within the training for such specialists, we organize the classes in the company, and the trainers from the company don't need to go to the institutions. We develop dual education, and we train the workforce based on the demand of the company. We cover such directions of the training, such as oil and gas technologies, chemical technologies of organic solutions, thermal energy, data engineering, transport equipment. Undoubtedly, within the implementation of pilot educational programs of the applied bachelor's degree, we have some challenges, especially in part of the legal regulation. That's why upon the graduation from the full cycle of training, the final legislatory documents will be prepared. In general, this implementation of the project of this applied bachelors in the higher education provides the opportunity of Kazakhstan to provide the short-term, mobile and relevant curricula to the population of the country in gaining the professional skills that are required in the 21st century. The task here is that with the diploma from the university, the graduate can receive the multilateral set of knowledge and the practical skills that will be used at the professional work without additional internships. Dear colleagues, this is the overall information about the measures that are taken in the system of education of Kazakhstan. I hope I didn't take too much time. Thank you. Thank you very much. It was brilliant. Also, we have another speaker from Kazakhstan who also participated in our first conference, the Chief Specialist of the Department of Technical and Vocational Education of Ministry of Education, Enlightenment of Republic of Kazakhstan, Mr. Bigjan Sadvakasov. Good morning, dear participants of the conference. I will try to be brief enough. First of all, let me welcome you on behalf of the Ministry of Enlightenment of the Republic of Kazakhstan and to wish all the success in our work at this platform. The main activity of our ministry is the provision of accessibility of technical professions and development of the management potential and improvement of the level of teachers and cooperation between business and its training institutions and providing the material technical basis, taking into account the demand of the labor market. The development of the educational sphere is provided in the concept up to 2025. The accessibility of technical and vocational education provided by 772 schools, and 85% of them prepare the workforce in the agricultural and service sectors of economy. The annual growth of the enrollment in the professional schools is provided by the attention that is given in the country to the sector, and also the awareness raising about the parents and the future students about such systems. As of today, 80% of the students at the professional schools are trained without fees, and we plan to turn this amount into 100%. Also, 64% of the schools have the conditions for the inclusive education, and up to 2026 we are hoping to have 100% of the full access of all layers of population to this professional education. Today, colleges, together with the employers, with the active support of the National Chamber of Entrepreneurs, independently identify the content of curricula and the quality of the curricula. And we provide this through the expertise. This is done at nautalab.kz at this website, where all the departments of ministries participating, and they provide a methodological support to the organizations of the vocational education. Last year, this registry included around 400 reviewed and updated training curricula. For further development of curricula, we will use the international standards and the map of professions. Today, with the system of the lifelong education, we have the need to send the details of the formal and informal education in accordance with the new law of Republic of Kazakhstan on the professional qualifications. To strengthen the measures on the improvement of quality of education, we will look at the mechanism of monitoring and assessment of the professional achievements, taking into account the tools that exist in this regard, and which will allow us to make the adequate assessment of the training at these schools. As a result, we will develop the common methodology of conducting the intra-college, intra-school control and involvement of the sectoral partners, we mean the employers, in all the occupations. And we are developing the system now, the system of the objective assessment, including the assessment of the demonstration exams and the training process. And this process will be conducted with external support. These qualifications are unified based on their generality, and we will make the separation with the specialty and its qualifications. The sustainability and digitalization is very important for the development of education in the country, and with this in over 30 directions of training, the diplomas in the colleges are provided with the QR codes, and those students are added to the map of the specialities, and this will contribute to the development of general digital space and the development of the digital schools. Within the implementation of the order of the head of the state, one of the most important directions of our work is the increase of the state order on the demanded specialities at the labor market. For the last 3 years, the state order on the training of the workforce is increasing, and we are providing the necessary conditions for the comfortable training. And as of today, the state takes huge measures on the training of the students of schools and providing all the conditions for them, like, for example, hot feeding. So all trainees in the working qualifications are being provided with food during training, and to involve the employers, we are developing the mechanisms of partnership such as dual education, where we cooperate with the companies based on their demand. Currently, the schools have the opportunity to conduct the selling of their products and to organize their own manufacturing processes. And as we know, within the Jasperman project, we have 180 schools equipped with the modern equipment, and the logical continuation of the project is the creation of the Center of Competences, which is aimed at retraining and upscaling of the specialists. Then also we have the participant of World Skills competition. As of today, we have over 200 competence centers working. Over 20 of them were developed last year. So this was made in those colleges in Jasmaman project. In those systems, we have over 40,000 teachers to form the new leaders of the changes. We are developing the personal reserve in the schools, and we are oriented here to develop the specific production conditions. And here we take the measures to involve the specialists from the companies, from the manufacturing process. And we motivate them with the additional payments, which are the 35% of the salary. Also, this will affect the KPI of the heads of such processes, and this will allow to develop the personal potential and to improve the commercialization and other conditions. And this KPI will influence the payment, the salaries of the directors. Ministry of Enlightenment, to go to the new quality level of the vocational training, now aims at the further measures. First of all, to conduct the analysis of the work of the schools, and we there found a disproportion between the specialization of at the labor market and the training at the schools. With this regard, we studied the demand of in the different regions, and based on this, we will identify the locomotives among the schools, and on their basis, we will have the IT hubs opened. And to develop these entrepreneurship skills, we will have the centers of the youth startups to to train the students to open their own business. Also, we are discussing the process on improvement of the financing for the training of specialists in the schools, up to 2 times. Dear colleagues, once again, let me express the hope that our conference will be very informative, that it will review our new changes in the sphere of vocational education. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much, Bigjan Serikovic. At such speeches, it's a big problem that the countries always have a lot to tell, a lot to show, and we have a lot of information, and we are very happy that you will have the opportunity to give the questions now to our speakers, and you can just take a photo of this QR code and you will go directly to the online platform where you can give the questions to our speakers. There you will see those questions that already were given. You can vote for them if you are interested in them. And then during the panel discussion, we will start from these exact questions. So this will allow us to kind of open such channel for discussion. So if you have any interest in some of those questions, you can go to this webpage. Our next country is Kyrgyzstan. And I would like to invite here the representative of the Ministry of Education and Science of Kyrgyzstan Republic, head of the Department of Primary Education, Madame Gulnura Mamyrova. Good morning, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. First of all, I would like to welcome you all on the second regional conference on the development of vocational education. We have this good tradition now that it's the second time when we meet in Tashkent, where we discuss the questions of regional integration in the vocational education sector in Central Asia. I would like to note that this is a wonderful platform and like a good opportunity to compare the situations. And for myself, I realized that Kyrgyzstan last year, we had some plans. Those plans that we described here last year, we have already implemented now. First, I should note that we have the new law on education in Kyrgyzstan, where we have integrated five consolidated laws. We will mainly speak about the vocational education today. Here we have the statistics on vocational education. I should note that in our country, the vocational education consists of 3 levels. This is primary, secondary, and higher vocational education. If we look at the primary vocational education, we have around 31,000 students. We have 101 professional lyceums. They all are financed by the state. The social package is preserved, the dormitory, the feeding, the payments to the students. Then the secondary professional education, we have 99,000 students. Comparing to last year, we have the growth of 6,000. We have 64 colleges or schools. 2 of them are state, others are private. Around 12% are on a fee-free basis. As of the higher vocational education, we have the stable tendency here. If last year we had 230,000 students, this year we have 227,000 students. In the country, we have 79 higher educational institutions. And here we should note the growth. If during the Soviet Union period we had 9 universities, but within the independence period we started to have 21. Around 12% are on a fee-free basis, or as we call it, the grant basis. Those grants are agreed with the employers, and based on the agreements and contracts with the employers.
So 12,000 people invest. Some 88% are on the contract, that is, they pay tuition fee. Last year, we managed to reduce the length of study of vocational education from 3 to 2 years. We give for 1 year for 10 and 11th grade. Plus, we give occupation, can be combined. We can offer 2 qualifications. Another innovations are online enrollment in all levels of professional education. This expands the access to professional education, and it is another tool to reduce corruption. What else? Starting from this year, based on the new law, we introduced the contest-based selection for all positions of the managers of vocational education, starting from kindergarten to the university. The managers who are staying in the position for 5 years or over, their laid off, they're dismissed from the current position and take the contest, participate in the contest. This year we conduct the contest to select the managers of lyceums and colleges. This is all we do for the first time, and of course there are some flaws and fallacies, so you get better through experience. New generation is needed. You need to reshuffle the human resources, and this is one of breakthroughs as we see it. Talking about the initial professional education and at all level professional educations, we create special status educational establishments. What do you mean? The special status and the beginning of initial professional education provides autonomy in financing. It provides academic autonomy. Some 90% of the curricula are flexible, that is, we can have academic freedom, and only in 10% of curricula must comply with state standard. Now about dual education. The new law education already enshrines dual education. There's on-job education, which means that for our lyceums we set up most stringent requirements, meaning that every lyceum must make contracts for dual education. Last year it was 11%. Now it's about 40%. I mean, there are contracts with employers, and dual education is implemented. We have got the system of qualification examinations with elements of independent certification. At our graduation exams at the initial education, we demonstrate skills. In the commissions, we have teachers from the lyceum as well as employers. We conduct final exams in online format. We introduce credit system at the initial professional education. How do we benefit from it? We are moving towards the national qualification system, saying this is trajectory: initial professional education, mid-professional education, the high professional education. From this perspective, we're introducing the credit-based system. This is more detailed overview. What else? I would like to acknowledge the role of international donors. With their help, we improve our infrastructure, the content of our education, and Asian Development Bank, GIZ, Aga Khan Foundation are among the major donors. Talking about middle professional education, or secondary professional education, in other words, we achieved some results as well. Namely, we set up 8 centers of excellence, and these centers introduced the teaching and production complexes, and all these definitions are found in new law education. Among others, our educational establishments are teaching and earning. That's simply saying they're offering services. It is all backed up by the proper laws and legislations with modifications in the budget code, in the law on education. Now let me speak about higher education. As I said before, we introduced the online enrollment. Additionally, we implemented a few automated systems to admit the students into international and foreign universities. From last year, we have got the President's Award, Alien 2, and 9 students last year got the chance to do the master's course and PhD course in the top international universities. And this year, this figure doubled. That is, 18 citizens of my country obtained the scholarship Alumni 2 that will enable them to continue their education in top 100 universities of the world. Important thing to know that 5 universities acquired the special status, and I already mentioned that they're supposed to have full financial autonomy and academic freedom. Besides, These universities introduce their own teaching and production complexes that can provide services to the population. Discussing the statistics and the figures and evidence of the vocational education, I can say that total number of students during independence changed from 88,000 to 227,000 people. 14% are the students of the private universities. As for the female students, we have more female students than male students, 52%, while the reverse picture is found in the initial vocational education. 70% of students there are men and only 30% are women. Out of 7 million population of Kyrgyzstan, every fifth have higher or complete or incomplete higher education. Every eighth have the secondary professional education. 78% of the students are taking bachelor course, 5.2% of students doing the master's course, and others in specialty. From the first days of independence, we have more and more international students, from 10,000 till 71,000 now. That is 31% of Kyrgyz students are actually international students. And talking about these international students, I would say that it is connected to a big budget. You can see figures on the screens. Out of the $75 million are the financing. Some state budget. 82% come from the contract tuition fee, some $60 million a year. I would like to also to mention that 46.3 thousand students are mainly those who come from Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and Russia, while 25.3 thousand are non-former Soviet Union countries. Most of the students are from India and Pakistan. Colleagues before mentioned that the issue of social partnership is getting more and more important, in particular interaction with employers. The new law also emphasizes the importance of social partnership in drafting the curricula, and here we're developing the interaction based on the fact that our employers are responsible for drafting professional standards, and based on the standards our centers or scientific councils further draft the curricula, the ministry approves the curricula, and the universities are implementing them. And here I would like to pick up three major problems, because together with our achievements we still have challenges, such as the system of education and the gap between the system of education and the labor market. This gap exists. Very often, the human resources do not comply with the demands and requirements of the labor market. From 2019, we are actively developing the national qualification systems. We create new assessment institutions, such as at the end of August, we set up the Independent Center of Certification and Validation. And this enables the recognition, acknowledgement of formal and informal education. You know that most migrants from my country come with formal and informal skills, and there is a need to recognize these qualifications. We are working on micro-certification of every single skill and competency. We are launching online courses on 18 competencies. As a pilot project 9 years ago, we launched, and we see that some 3,000 Kyrgyz citizens took advantage of these online courses. What is unique about these courses? You have got chatbot, which is staying with you 24 hours a day, and wherever you stop and resume, you resume from the previous. These courses are available both in Kyrgyz language and Russian, and at the end, electronic certificate is issued. In future, we're planning to make the certificate a certificate of the state status, and further it will be replaced with the diploma. We're working on it. Kazakh colleagues spoke before me. You see, in the long term, we're also thinking about the diplomas with QR codes. We're moving towards the digitalization. Electronic logbooks, electronic management systems are being introduced, and we're going to have a per capita financing. What else? Another challenge is the analysis of the labor market. We do not have an accurate labor market analysis. We do not have a proper methodology to do that. But together with our colleagues with Ministry of Labor, we're trying to fix this problem. The key thing comes from technological challenges. Changes of the structure, changes of the competences, skills, lack of the equipment, insufficient interaction with employers, I already mentioned it. Soft skills are suffering. So I already covered it. Next steps and prospects in development of the professional education deal with further development of dual education in all levels of professional education. It also includes the improvement of the curricula based on the professional standards, improving the educational infrastructure, taking advantage of digital technologies, introducing the distance learning, improvement mechanisms of assessment and recognition of qualification, finalizing the trajectory of the work, the lyceum, college, university. And the new law offers the access to the graduates of the initial professional educations, if they fit the profile, to be admitted to the first year of the university or the second year of the college without taking necessary exams. Introduction of the mechanism of continuous professional education and the evaluation of pedagogical cadre. From last year, we increased the scholarships to the students of pedagogical universities. We increased the salary in all domains of education, but in parallel, we demand higher scores to be admitted to the pedagogical universities, contest-based and recruitment of the managers for educational. Inclusive education is equally important for us in all levels. We also think about the development of the educational programs based on the green economy, improvement of the regulatory frameworks and documents. I already mentioned the new law on education. In parallel, we are doing a lot of work to draft necessary bylaws and regulations, and the efforts are made in all levels to adopt new regulations and bylaws for this law. Introduction of independent centers of certification and validation is especially important for us, as we think. If you look at the statistics, you will see that over 50% of our economically active population have no formal professional education. Therefore, there is a big need in it now. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. I apologize for taking your time. I just thought to share with you as much as possible. Thank you, Madam Gulnura. I understand you very well. You have to be really precise and concise and precise. You have some, stranger German who does not let you do that. Tajikistan is next. And now I would like to invite here, as a representative of Ministry of Science and Education Tajikistan, Mr. Sirojuddin Niyozi. And colleagues, again, with help of QR code, you can access our online system to share your questions, read what is already there, and ask the question directly to our colleagues. Floor is yours, sir. Good morning, dear colleagues, dear guests, and all the participants of this conference. My name is Sergey Niuzi. I represent the Ministry of Education and Science of the Republic of Uzbekistan. It's a big honor for me to speak at this important conference that is conducted in the capital of Republic of Uzbekistan, Tashkent. First of all, let me express on behalf of the Minister of Education Tajikistan, Mr. Saigzada Rahmo, to the Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation, to Mr. Abdurrahmanov, and as well as to the representatives of the GIZ and the managers of the project of the professional education for the sectors of economic growth, to Madame Sonia Kabasher and respected Thomas Lux, who is the senior advisor to the project, for organizing this second regional scientific and practical conference, regional aspects of sustainable development and professional education, challenges and perspectives. It's a pleasure to know that in this event we have got the representatives here in Uzbekistan, our fraternal nations, Kyrgyzstan, and my presentation is about professional education in Tajikistan, challenges and prospects. All right. The leader of the nation, the president of Tajikistan, respected Imam Ali Rahman, many times mentioned that initial and secondary education plays a vital role in preparing the working labor force since the development of the sectors of national economy and providing the professionals to the public and private organizations is very important. This slide shows the structure of the educational system of Tajikistan. You can see that Tajik educational system consists of preschool, general secondary education, professional vocational education, which comprises initial professional education, secondary vocational education, and high professional education. It also has postgraduate education, including master's, PhD, aspirantship, and PhD. The slide shows the system of initial professional education. Tajikistan, at the moment, has got over 63 professional lyceum and while one branch. The total size of the audience of this lyceum 2023-24 is over 19,000 students.
Also, on this slide, you can see the system of the vocational education, the secondary vocational education in Tajikistan. And here, I should note that in our country, we have 84 secondary vocational schools. 57 of them are state ones and 27 are private. The contingent of the students in 2023-2024 is over 85,000 of students. On this slide, you can see the system of higher vocational education, which is the main and the key direction in the sphere of vocational education. I should note here that in Tajikistan currently we have 46 higher vocational institutions. Out of them, 45 are state ones and one is private. The amount of the students in the higher vocational institutions in 2023 is more than 220,000 students. In total, in the country, we have 19 universities, 14 institutions, 1 conservatory, 7 branches. Out of them, 4 branches are the Russian universities. In the country, we have the law on the vocational education in the Republic of Tajikistan, which works from July 2023. Also, the further development of the dual education was added into the national strategy up to 2030. Currently in Tajikistan, we have 2 universities for the piloting of the dual education. This is Tajik Technical University, named after academician Usemi, in the logistics specialization. Then we have the Tajik Pedagogical University, named after Sadreddin Aini. Then let's look at the experience of introduction of dual education in Germany, in Koblenz city, this year, and also the experience exchange with Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan. We have developed the pilot educational programs. On the next slide, you can see the main reforms in the vocational education in Tajikistan. For this, we have introduced the digitalization process and the transfer to the digital education in Tajikistan up to 2040. The next, the transfer to the competency-based approach. We have developed the curricula for the higher vocational education and the secondary vocational education, which is based on the competencies. Then the development of the inclusive education, which involves the infrastructure, where we develop the inclusive space. We are developing the educational materials, and also the introduction of the green economy principles. There we have adopted the program for development up to 2027, the forming of the green thinking of our future specialists is the main direction. Then the prospects of development of vocational education in Tajikistan. Those prospects include the transfer to the new educational technologies, taking into account the latest achievements in the spheres of science, techniques, and technologies, which are based on the competencies, competency-based education, and the creation in the educational schools, the specific resources for the persons with special needs. Then the development of the distance training programs for the people with special needs. The changes into the state classifications of qualifications. Also taking into account the need of the labor market and the development of dual education in the universities and the secondary vocational schools. Here it's also noted that only in 2023 in the 5 universities of Tajikistan, over 35 new specialities were introduced, the specialities of the international specificity. We have over 40,000 students from Tajikistan studying in the foreign universities. And in 2023, the state budget in the amount of 20% was allocated on the education, and year by year this amount is growing. In 2023, from the budget of the state, based on the state budget, the salaries of the people working in the sector of education were increased. And we have 74 national thesis councils or dissertation councils that are working on the development of the professional education. Thank you very much. My presentation is over with this. Thank you very much. Once again, if you have any questions to the speaker, you can give these questions through this QR code. And the last country based on the alphabet, but the first for us as the host country, this is of course Republic of Uzbekistan. On behalf of the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Innovation, I would like to invite Mr. Aziz Miliboyev.
Начальник управления, но мне
The head of the department, but unfortunately I'm not informed which exactly department. That's why I couldn't introduce you completely. Good morning, good afternoon, dear participants of our today's event. It's a great pleasure for me to see you at our today's event, and first of all I would like to express gratitude to GIZ and to PECA project and to TechSvet project for the fruitful cooperation and organization of this conference. Currently, both projects are participating actively with their direct proposals in the reforming of the system of vocational education in Uzbekistan. The results of the reforms that were conducted in Uzbekistan, we made changes in the system of education in Uzbekistan. They were harmonized with international classificators of education, and also this system organizes the network of the educational institutions consisting of the professional schools, colleges, and technicums, with the introduction of the primary, secondary, and the secondary special forms of education. The professional schools on the training is made on the basis of students of the 9th form, when the program of the educational subjects in the general and the dual form of education based on the second and third level of standardization, and the students who have at least the school education can participate in the dual and evening form of education based on the complexity of the profession and based on the state order in this direction. And here the training of the workforce is conducted in the groups that are formed in terms of the distance and non-distance forms of education, and the evening education and dual education based on the state order and the based on the tuition fee. For the last years, we have achieved the results that are based on the international experience, the competence-based training, the integration of the labor market in the system of education, the educational standards that are fully integrated with the professional standards, the system of assessment qualifications based on the international standards, the training of the workforce, the long-time training, the training on the module basis, and the introduction of the specific skills were introduced. We have around 4,000 of students in 80 professional schools. We have there 31 professions and specialities based on the standards level. The system of professional education also has the short-term vocational education, where over 16,000 of citizens receive training. For the internship in the company, we have cooperation with the companies and organizations, and the dual education is organized in cooperation with over 3,000 companies. To build capacity here, the trainers and the teachers participated in the training, which were conducted by the international experts, and also they participated in the courses on the entrepreneurship activity. In 2020, we adopted a law on education of Republic of Uzbekistan, and it made the foundation for the new system of vocational education in Uzbekistan. And Based on the law, the dual education was introduced as a new form of education, and also we introduced a separate provision on dual education and the organization of the dual training in the system of vocational education. And there was a decree of the Cabinet of Ministers of Republic of Uzbekistan related to this, and as of today the forms of dual education is being organized, and it's organized in over 200 schools, professional schools in Uzbekistan, and there are over 70 professions they are being trained, and over 3,000 companies are participating in the process, and this is in the construction, in the services, tourism, and other sectors. In accordance with international standards, we have developed 70 training programs for the organization of dual training. Another result, which is based on the demand of the labor market and the proposals from the employers, the dual education is introduced within the whole year of training. And for the involvement of the private sector, we are involving the entrepreneurs and the companies for their participation in the process. Briefly about the mechanism of the developing and introduction of the normative documents. There is the decree of the Cabinet of Ministers. We have the framework of the national qualification. Based on this framework, we have introduced the sectoral qualification framework, and there are the standards on the priority sectors of the professional activity. Based on these standards, the ministry, together with the employers, develop the educational standards, and based on these standards, this is made by the Institute of the Development of Vocational Education. We are closely cooperating with GIZ, and within this cooperation we have those two projects in TechSvet. We have selected 15 vocational schools in the light industry sector, and we have developed the educational curricula for the directions of the sphere of industry. The representatives of the ministries and the educational organizations had exchange with the companies in Germany and the educational institutions in Germany. And within PECA project, we have selected 3 vocational schools in the food sector and logistics. We have developed the curricula for this, and 65 students participated in the training in the dual education sector. We have developed the concept of development of dual education, and we have developed the guidelines on the development of educational standards in the compliance with the standards, and we have improved the legislatory basis for the employment of the graduates. In Uzbekistan, the prospects of development of vocational education, these are the goals of the vocational education in compliance with the international standards, the digitalization in all the directions, the cooperation with the international donors. We are developing the LMS and MS systems, and also the improvement of the quality of the electronic content, the improvement of the legislatory basis, and we will do this taking into account the tendencies in trends in the sphere of green economy. And we are developing the primary system of the quality assurance, and also we are conducting the work on introduction of new training mechanisms, the lifelong qualification improvement, upskilling, and the training, the workforce assessment and recognition of qualifications at the labor market, and development of the qualification centers on the basis of the educational institutions. Today we have in the system of vocational education in Uzbekistan, we are developing the system of training the students and the specialists of the medium level based on the requirements of the employers and the international labor market. With this, we have the intensive work on the awareness raising among the employers and the improvement of the system of education with their participation. Currently, we are reviewing the legislatory norms in part of the involvement of employers in the system of vocational education, and we are making the additional changes in the improvement of the mutually beneficial results for both parties. We are effectively cooperating with the employers for the further development of the dual education and the expanding of the involvement of education of young people into this form of education. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, dear Aziz Razakovic. And with this, I would like to go to the panel part of our discussion. And I see that there are quite many questions through our QR code function. You can still go to this webpage and give questions to the speakers and to, in general, give the questions that are interesting for you. And with this, we will have the understanding of which parts are interesting. So please show the questions that we have for now. So the first question here, is it possible to receive all the presentations from all the speakers? The question is simple now. Our colleagues are dealing with this. We are uploading all the presentations to the website. This is like technical question. Then the second question about the priorities. It's interesting in that part that our conference is regional, and we are opening it with that each country is telling about themselves. We are going away from kind of regional view. It's more integrative. We see here what we have in each country, and we need to pull them back, all these views. And the question here is to all of you, any of our participants can answer them. Could you please tell about the potential directions for the regional integration? What are the problems in the vocational higher education can be resolved through the regional integration? And here I can add from myself the regional cooperation, because integration and cooperation is a little bit different. The question to all of you. May I start here? Yes, okay, Kazakhstan is starting. I think that I will speak from the point of higher education, because I represent the Ministry of Higher Education and Science of Republic of Kazakhstan. In 2021, Kazakhstan initiated the Turkestan Declaration, within which we proposed to develop the Central Asian space of higher education. The main goal of this platform is to join our countries to provide the labor mobility of our citizens, so that we can develop the joint in having the analogy of the Bologna process, and there we could recognize the results of training, where we could synchronize our professional standards, where we could recognize our diplomas. So this system will allow our countries to work more harmoniously and in a more synchronized manner in the terms of training the professional staff. Now, Kazakhstan is working on this project, and on behalf of our ministry, I invite our colleagues to participate in the work of this space. And if you need more detailed information, we have Ayjan here, we have the representative of the Center of Vocational Education. You can ask any questions to her, how to enter this space, how to communicate. You can ask Ayjan about this. Thank you very much.
We already had a discussion these aspects before, and I believe that it is critical for Central Asian countries to create a common labor market, common professional standards, common curricula to train human resources, the common analysis of the market. So, as my colleague said, namely recognition of education is critical for us. Recognition of competences, qualifications. Talking about the initial vocational education, we, in one of the projects, already initiated this work. We're developing the gradual development, the common analysis of the labor market. But to be honest, I cannot say we moved forward that much. We didn't move forward at all, honestly. Hopefully, next year will be more productive for Central Asian countries in vocational education. Okay, dear colleagues, it's well known that this summer representatives of 4 countries, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, were sent to Germany, to Koblenz, thanks to Thomas Lux and his team, to learn the experience. From these presentations, from today's presentations, we realize that dual education is critical for development of professional education. So what can be done is having the regional education in the countries whose representatives are here. Take Tajikistan, for instance. Our energy sector is quite advanced. We can onboard students from other countries, like we did in the Soviet time, to bring the students from other countries and they stay for 15 to 20 days in Tajikistan to learn about the energy sector. Or take Uzbekistan. Machine building or the car making is quite advanced in Uzbekistan. The same, you can bring the college student or university students to come to Uzbekistan to get access to this experience. This is what we can propose. This is what we can think about for future, to think about the efforts in establishing the regional level dual education covering the countries whose representatives are now in this room, in this conference. Thank you. Thank you. Well, it's already mentioned that we need to work with the employers to develop dual education, and I have very much the same proposal. We should work together to advance dual education, to address the issue, to identify and address the issues. If you take Europe, the countries there have quite developed dual education system. So I can suggest very much the same it was before, namely advance dual education and work together in this regard. Thank you very much. We have more and more questions. People are prioritizing them. And we're moving away from the abstract level towards more applied and practical level. But it's again, to all of you, it is about dual education. Some of the participants, anonymous, I cannot say the name therefore. Again, question to all speakers. In dual education, you must have business on board. This is the essence of dual education. You represent the state. How can you motivate the business to participate? Yes, you can tell the businesses, yeah, you need human resources, then workforce is the future of the country. It's all slogans, big words. But what about the practical solutions to motivate and encourage and incentivize business? Let me use my country as an example. If you compare my country with others, this domain is not that advanced, but we're only at the beginning. Our dual education is based on the initial professional education. We cooperate with big factories in light industry in particular. We have, for instance, the big factory Kyrgyz Textile, which employs some 3,000 people, and virtually all lyceums of the Osh city have contracts with this factory. And based on this contract, the schedule of dual education was developed, but starting from September of this year, all learning in the qualifications software and tailor will be made in the factory. This provides the opportunity of our students to earn the money, hone their skills and competencies, and this is the benefit for the lyceum. Lyceums do not have to dedicate the rooms for this training. We have more vacant rooms to accommodate new other competencies and skills. This is the format, this is the arrangement which we're pursuing, and everybody is benefiting, both the school and employer. And we know in advance that after graduation, our graduates will find job with good payment and will work in good conditions that meet, among others, the labor safety areas. This is the model which we are rolling out in our areas. Whereas the same situation we can see in food industry, where again the learning itself is carried out in the company. Thank you. What about you? What about incentives do you have for the businesses in your country? Thank you for your question. It's quite relevant as well to combine learning and work. In Tajikistan, this process just starts this year. In our legislation, we reflected this dual education. So we gave the start. For future, as for the future, we see that all business incubators, all entrepreneurs from food industry will be onboarded to make sure that students of the colleges and universities would take the practice, would do their practice in the countries, in the companies which are flagships in the country. So German experiences was quite useful for us, such as 70% it is a practice, while 30% of in the walls of universities and colleges. This is what you do in Germany, and we are going to copy it in our country, 70 to 30. All right, I would like to discuss the applied baccalaureate. I mentioned it in my presentation. The idea is that universities, and if the student is admitted after the applied baccalaureate, he's doing more intensive program, less theory, more practice. Talking about with companies and businesses, I must say that all our professional standards are always developed together with the employers. Our curricula are equally developed, also developed together with employers, and universities must have several industrial partners from different sectors. For instance, we're actively pursuing cooperation in IT domain, information technologies. I already mentioned that we're closely working with the global companies like Coursera, Huawei. Apple is coming to my country. So I believe that in higher education we already have the close education. My colleague, maybe you can add something about dual education. By the way, I have got a colleague, we're from two different ministries, he will end this. Thank you. Dear colleagues, I'm saying colleagues, why? Because we're doing the same thing. Ministry of Education is working to double the size of the per capita payment, which implies, among others, payment to the mentors from the companies. It is an important thing. Likewise, we're working on the insurance for the students. It is more about the financing, but equally with the mechanism. The mechanism to pay to the mentors is well covered. It is based on the contract or reimbursed services. Well, institutions are ready for it. We're going to continue. Thank you. As we know, dual education is a new thing. We're studying it. We're looking at benefits the dual education brings to education. Therefore, Uzbekistan picked several areas. And in this area, we're training our cadre. Take, for instance, together with GIZ, we're addressing the light industry and logistics. Based on this, we drafted several proposals. We're discussing them with the employers. The main objective is to advance dual education. I believe, again, we need to get the all insights of this thing, and after that, think how we can move forward. Well, this is what we're working on now. Thank you. Next question. And again, this question is to all of you. It is not about dual education. It is about the lifelong education. And the question is, how in your countries, in professional education, how this principle of lifelong education is reflected or pursued in each of your countries. If I may, I will start. In this area, we in my country have got the whole concept of adult education, lifelong education. We have got the special programs. For instance, as the new law was adopted, the additional vocational education is not licensed. Those which are not connected with health, they are not licensed. It offers more opportunities for private providers to open new vocational educational courses, to teach new skills. We acknowledge the importance of lifelong education, and from this perspective, we're actively introducing the online courses, as I mentioned before, to have 24/7 distance learning opportunities. With help of these formats, the global skills can be acquired, such as entrepreneurship, basics of business, web coding, financial literacy, computer literacy, all the skills of this kind which are covered by the online courses, and anybody can take advantage of them. Thank you. The question is very interesting and very relevant. Kazakhstan adopted the special concept of life learning. As a part of it, new definitions were introduced, such as formal and informal education. We're now working on the law on professional qualifications. And here, Kazakh citizens will have a chance to get their results of education validated, collect the credits, and this will enable him or her to move from level to level to get validated results of this formal education. Thank you. Yeah, the question is about lifelong education. Well, in Constitution of Uzbekistan, we have Article 47, which says that regardless of the age, any Tajik citizen have a right to get education and continue education. Saying specifically, in my country, after higher education, we have got the postgraduate or as we call it, post-diploma education. Anybody, regardless of the age, can do the course of the postgraduate education. In Ministry of Migration, they have the special center which offers short-term courses which one can take depending on the industry. Thank you. Let me give you my mic. Thank you. My name is Murat Khol Mohamed, director of the Institute of the Study of the labor market under the Ministry of Employment. Let me ask you a question. What is the Mona Center and the role? And I will answer myself. Mona Center is the innovative center of professional training, which is intended to retrain unemployed people. Why mono centers? It brings together several functions in one place. Number one, professional orientation. Number two, providing information about the labor market, about the requests, the results of the analysis of the labor market, both quantitative and qualitative. They will tell you about professions, occupations, competences, skills, including the green skills that are relevant for this or that region, this or that industry, this or that sector of the real economy. Again, information, database, access to the real-time data about real market. This is the first function of Mona Center. The second function of Mona Center is professional training based on the principle of lifelong education. It comprises short-term courses which complement all levels of professional programs. That is, initial one in the school, post-school education, that is colleges and technicums are integrated with the higher education program. First of all, in technicum you can take from 6 months to 2 years training course. This is the integration, direct integration of labor market. The second one is a professional education, tailor-made to the needs of the concrete unemployed person to give him the concrete skills for the concrete professional activity. Organizational ones, it is dual education, but we're all professionals, and we understand that dual education is not about that part of the training is theory in school, and the second part when there's labor skills in the business entity and so on. In fact, professional education starts with the joint development of the curriculum program and deciding about learning outcomes. You draft them, you test them, you do the independent evaluation of qualifications together with the representative of employer to make sure that they would then admit the graduate who took the course. And the second one is actual employment, giving the job. At the end of professional training of the Mona Center, if some concrete job place is identified, then assessment of qualification adaptation is done jointly. But our Mona Centers are providing professional skills to be integrated with international labor market. That is employment through official migration channels, going to the particular country, to the particular region. So this is, in brief, again, several functions covered by one place, therefore we call them Mona Centers. If you have any question, please answer. Actually, we answered the second and third question as well about what Mona Centers mean. This is good. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Another question to Uzbekistan. You can delegate the answer to somewhere else. Could you please clarify the phrase, admission or enrollment is done throughout the year? Can you please explain what does it mean?
This is a quite simple procedure. If there is some order from some company, we can enroll the group of students and train them. This is the specific platform, and through this platform we can take orders And if there is a contract between the employer and some students, without any problems, we can enroll them into the system of vocational education. The next question to Tajikistan. Could you please give more details about the introduction of dual education in your universities? Thank you for the question. I've just noted that it's already 3 or 4 years we are dealing with the development of all the documents for the transfer, this transition to the dual education system. And in Tajikistan, in the legislation, we have introduced the provisions on dual education, and also we are taking measures on implementation of the standards and their use at the level of the government. And also Tajikistan Technical University has the piloting of the dual education in the logistics a specialty, because logistics is very relevant for Tajikistan. And also the Pedagogy University has in the several specialties the dual education introduced. And further, we are planning to make a research among those companies that have the opportunity to conduct the practical part of the training. And in this regard, we are preparing the number of documents for those companies, and where we can really conduct the practical part of training for those specialties that are involved into the vocational education system. Next question to Kyrgyzstan. Do you have any labor market analysis, and based on what do you give this kind of amount to the state order? Yes, we have the approved methodology together with the Ministry of Labor. Maybe for today it's not perfect, but we will develop it additionally. As of today, based on the results of this methodology, we have signed the agreements with the employers, and based on them, we allocate the fee-free, tuition fee-free training places. And after this, we have around 100% of employment among our students. Another question to Kyrgyzstan. Do you have the monitoring system and the professional lyceums to track the employment of your graduates? Which tools are being used? Yes, at the level of the primary vocational education, we have the system on tracking the students that was introduced in 2018. First, we conduct the survey among the graduates, among the students. We have the special platform for this. First, it's made initially, then after 9 months of training, is the quality of training satisfactory? Is the student satisfied by the teachers, by the conditions? And after 6 months after the graduation, there's the second phase of survey, the second phase of tracking of the graduates, where we can see if the graduate managed to get employed. 67% of them, they are employed in their specialty. 13% become self-employed. Probably this is related to that when the students enter our lyceums, they get this kind of subject that's related to the entrepreneurship, and this 13% for our students is quite good amount. So they leave the lyceum and they can enter the labor market with their small business, where they can provide some services of plumbers, of technicians, etc. Today, this system, it will be amended. We are having now the negotiations to include the new skills, like digital skills, but we need to learn to which extent they have these digital skills, and after we will add on to the system. And two more questions that are related to all of our participants. On this we will end up with this round of discussion. So now two questions. The first one is quite complicated. So what's the term of training in your countries in dual program? So how long do the students study? Here I would like to know that dual program, we should note here that on the basis of the 9th form of the school is 2 years. So for 2 years they go to the 10th and 11th form, and at this 11th form they have the professional part, and during the practical part we make the compliance of our programs for like 60–70%. 60% it is practice, 40% is theoretical, but the training longitude is preserved. It depends on the profession. We have the short term and long term, but for the dual education, the full term of education is at least 1 year, and there's a 60–40 correlation between theoretical and practical part. What about other countries? As of dual education, it was noted in my presentation that in Tajikistan we have the secondary stage, and there are vocational schools. So we have already the pilot projects in the bachelor's. The term there is 4 years. And there are some specialities in colleges, like in the vocational schools, it is 3 years. And we took the experience of Germany, it is 70–30, this ratio. And now we plan that in Tajikistan, especially in the dual education, in the universities, at the bachelor's degree, make 60–40, because it's impossible to get trained without the theoretical part. That's why we plan to make it 60–40, 40 theoretical, 60 practical. As I mentioned, we have this applied bachelor's degree. It is 1 or 2 years. So in general, it depends on the specialty and based on the agreement that we have between the company and the school. And of course, the student who wants to go to the dual education, so everything influences this term. So everything depends on this contract on dual education. Thank you very much, Mr. Sadvakasov. And Uzbekistan maybe will answer. If you can, please introduce yourselves. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm the head of the Department of Ministry of Higher Education. I'm Niyatullah Nimatov. We dislocate those budget seats, like the fee-free seats. It's around 40% at each university, but we have the trend here in the allocation of these fee-free seats based on the technical specialties, like in mathematics and chemistry. And for the second year, the state provides grant seats in the state universities and the private universities. Thank you very much. All right. In general, I think that... Okay, let's take another question. So it's about the improvement of the legal basis or legislatory basis that influences the employment in Uzbekistan. Can you give more details about the mechanisms? And again, please introduce yourself. I'm Murodakul Makhmadov, Director of Institute of the Research of Labor Market under the Ministry of Employment and Poverty Reduction. So what are the legislatory mechanisms? So what are the employment mechanisms? We should keep in mind that we have the labor market, and each graduate should resist the equal, the free competition at the labor market. And which mechanisms contribute to the employment? If we speak about the here, it's only socially vulnerable groups, people with special needs, women, and other social sectors. The others should be able to compete at the conditions of the labor market, and they need to try to provide the quality. And that's why we need to provide them quality education so that they can be able to be competitive in the future at the labor market. We have this protection of this state plan that we should employ someone, some amount. But yes, we must, but not all of them. So that's why the students should understand that there is a competition. But taking this into account, we need to give them the quality education so that we may have the good results of the education and training. Thank you. All right. With this, I would like to finalize this part of discussion. Today after lunch, you will have a chance within the thematical sessions or during master classes. You will have the opportunity to communicate. Also, we have quite long coffee breaks, and you can have a look at the exhibition and to see the project. And with this, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you for this readiness to speak in front of the audience. And I want to keep you for a little while. Before this, we have like one or two small technical announcements. Before lunch, we are having here the group photo. It's also a significant part of the event. Where is our photographer? All right, dear colleagues from the project, please find the photographer so that we know who is going to make the group photo. The second, after the group photo, when you go out, our lunch will be on the left, and also in the foyer there will be the colleagues, the volunteers who will help you with the sections and master classes that you want to participate in after lunch. So you can ask the volunteers or the project representatives. The seats are limited in the master classes, and that's why each master class is conducted 2 times, each time for 20 seats. So you need to have a look. Some of you have already registered, so you should go to those several tables at the entrance, and next to the tables there are the pinboards, and on them there are the topics of master classes. You can come up to them and get subscribed. After you get subscribed, you will receive the stickers. You can do this now during lunch and after lunch, of course. But after lunch, we all will be already in the session, so do this now or during lunch. So, where we are going to be, okay, on the stage. So, could you please go on the stage now? We will make a photo here, a very big group photo. Maybe like 2 rows or several rows. Let's make 2 rows. Now here, down, one